Hello luxury watch lovers! In this channel, I'll cover the background, fundamental design features, and things to consider before buying the watch. If you have a luxury watch that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments below. In today's video, we're going to cover the Tudor Black Bay 58. Since its release in 2018, the BB58 has grown to become one of the most popular luxury dive watches on the market. Chances are many of you watching may be considering taking the plunge on this one, so let's dive right in. Tudor was founded by Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, and is now controlled by the same Hans Wilsdorf Foundation that controls, wait for it, Rolex. Throughout the years, Tudor became recognized for its tool watches, which were designed for professional divers and the military. Between the 1960s and 1980s, several navies, including the US Navy SEALs and the French Marine Nationale, supplied Tudor submariners to their divers. The Black Bay 58, a model whose dimensions evoke those of the era, pays homage to Tudor's first dive watches and comes equipped with a Tudor manufacture caliber. It is especially designed for slim wrists, people who prefer smaller watches, and vintage enthusiasts. Our featured Black Bay 58 was inspired by the 1958 Judo Oyster Prince Submariner 7924. Now, this 1958 version added a lot of innovation to Tudor's product portfolio, like the 200-meter water resistance feature. It is awesome to see that even years after Tudor introduced its Black Bay 58, people seem to be equally excited. It truly became an instant hit. The Black Bay 58 is the first of Tudor's dozens of Black Bay versions to include a reduced 39mm casing, which makes it much more accommodating for smaller wristed fans like me. The Black Bay 58's substantial amount of vintage feel on exhibit, complete with gilded dial hands and a red triangle on the bezel's 12 o'clock position, quickly checked a lot of boxes for collectors. So, what are the most important design features? Well, as discussed, the steel casing is 39mm in diameter and 11.9mm in height that is beautifully polished with a satin finish. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 47mm and a 20mm distance between the lugs. For all the dive lovers, it has a water resistance of up to 200 meters. The movement is an Auto Tudor MT5402, which is designed to ensure robustness, longevity, reliability, and precision. It has a variable inertia balance, which is maintained by a sturdy traversing bridge with a 2-point fixation. This allows for performances that go well beyond the standards set by COSC, which is the Swiss Official Chronometer Testing Institute. It has 70 hours of power reserve, also known as weekend proof, so you can take your watch off on a Friday evening and pop it back on again on Monday morning without having to reset it. To top it off, the BB58 has an aesthetic sapphire crystal. Okay, so how about the price? You can expect to pay between $3,375 to about $3,700, depending on whether you choose either the fabric or leather strap or the bracelet. Here are the things to consider before buying a Tudor Black Bay 58. Okay, so number 1, the durability. The Black Bay 58 has a gorgeous anodized matte black bezel with a 60-minute warm-toned rose gold completion printed on it. For improved legibility, a little pearl filled with superluminova rests on top of a bright red triangle. Because the grooves on the bezel are so narrow, turning it can be a little tricky. Instead of trying to grab the sides of the bezel, try pushing down with both fingers and then turning it. They have also incorporated a nifty locking mechanism at the 12-minute mark, as well as a 60 clicks turning instead of the 120 clicks turning we've seen on other divers, making it much easier to lock into the regular position. As previously said, the bezel is anodized, which implies it is constructed of aluminium in order to be anodized. And this is where, in comparison to the often used ceramic bezels in modern divers, you must be a little more cautious. This bezel is much more scratch prone. So those who desire a new look on their watches can either take special care of their Black Bay 58 while wearing it or opt for a watch made of more durable material. Moving on to number 2, the case size. Tudor has introduced a classic diver with the Black Bay 58, which has a 39mm diameter, a height of 11.9mm, and a lug-to-lug width of 47mm, making the 58 a true homage to the 7924 Oyster Prince Submariner. This makes the 58 an ideal watch for smaller wrists, particularly those between 150 and 180mm in circumference. However, anyone with a larger wrist should put on the watch in person, as this could be the first diver that appears too tiny for you. Regarding the bezel, this watch's bezel isn't made of metal unlike other divers that use ceramic. Aluminium tends to fade over time, the hues fade over time, and it's more prone to not only scratches, but it also gives the watch a look that has a wonderful matte and retro-inspired vibe. This may not be your thing if your liking is more gleaming or modern. Coming in at number 3, the bracelet issue. There are 2 points that you should be aware of if you decide to get a Black Bay 58. The first step is the overall look of the bracelet. First and foremost, the Black Bay 58 is currently available in 3 different configurations: a full steel bracelet, a leather strap, or a fabric strap. The Black Bay 58 steel bracelet has a lovely satin finish and is made up of 3 links. 2 small rivets are fastened to each link. I say attached because they aren't keeping anything together. Those rivets are only there for aesthetic reasons. They are meant to emphasize the vintage spirit of these watches. Of course, this is a matter of personal taste, so if you're thinking about getting the full steel version of the Black Bay 58, be sure to check it out in person to see whether you like the design. The second point is about comfort. Except for the Black Bay 58 Bronze Boutique Only Edition, none of the other Black Bay 58 versions have any form of quick adjustments on their clasps, which means that when your wrist starts to fluctuate in size a bit, which is something a lot of people typically experience during the warmer times, you have to whip out a watch tool to make your watch fit right again. It appears to be beautifully constructed, and the satin finish complements the round corners of the clasp nicely. However, there is one flaw. There is no rapid adjustment on the folding steel clasp, even though it has a safety latch. Reason number 4, the incomplete dial. With the 58, Tudor continued its rose gold theme from the bezel to the dial, giving us a warm-looking watch. The dial itself is matte black and beautifully textured if you look closely enough. The chapter ring imprint, as well as the hour markers and dial writing, are all rose gold in color. These seconds, minutes, and hour hands are not solid gold as they are in Rolex watches, but rather plated. Depending on the light, the hands do appear to be somewhat yellower than the rest. But while Tudor did a wonderful job with all of their dial elements, although it is not obvious at first, they did not include a date for all of those forgetfuls out there. Perhaps this might not be a deal breaker for you. Lastly, number 5, the everyday watch. When was the last time you had a strong desire for something specific, but it was either too costly, unavailable, or you thought you wanted it, but it wasn't exactly what you wanted? For some, what I just said applies to the Tudor Black Bay 58, and I'll explain why. To begin with, many people consider the Black Bay 58 to be a good alternative to the more expensive and usually unavailable Rolex Submariner. However, buyer's remorse is a legitimate condition. These 2 timepieces couldn't be more different. Even while the Black Bay 58 and the Sub appear to be very similar at first glance, after looking at each for more than 5 seconds, it is evident that these 2 are very different. In comparison to the Black Bay 58, the Sub has a cooler tone with a striking contrast between silver, white, and black colors. The case is chunkier and the bezel's edge is more noticeable. The 2 also differ in their perceptions of the watch and its overall, should we say, personality. In terms of watches, the Sub has become the personification of flex culture, but the Black Bay 58 appears to offer the cure. a diver of identical quality and proportions, but without the negative associations associated with the Rolex. The Tudor Black Bay 58 watch has an astonishingly low price for a COSC-certified in-house movement, great for those of you who appreciate fine watchmaking, excellent build quality, and a truly stunning watch. Tudor, the Rolex sister brand, ensures that you receive the most bang for your buck, a low-key, durable, and elegant everyday watch. For those of you who want something you can wear in the water, the gym, on the weekend, when traveling, even to the office, or maybe even a fancy dress-up like 007, there's the Black Bay 58. It allows you to change the straps easily. The Black Bay 58's greatest strength is its versatility. Whether you're a newbie looking to buy his or her first serious piece, or a seasoned collector who probably has one too many, the Black Bay 58 is well worth taking a look at. Tudor has introduced 5 more variations of its Black Bay 58 in July 2020, and believe it or not, the black one has a flawless appearance with the perfect blend of warmth and coolness. So, this wraps up the review of Tudor Black Bay 58. Thank you for sticking it out through to the very end of this video. Nothing helps out the channel more than you all watching the entire video. These videos require dedication making, but are truly a labor of love. If you enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comments what other watches you think deserve their own video. And remember, time is your greatest asset.